The truth will set you free. What's up, Unbroken Nation? Hope that you're doing well wherever you are in the world today. As you may know, if you follow me on social, I was in New York City last week speaking in front of some incredible human beings. And at one point, I got a text from a friend, and he was like, "Hey, you should probably go to Times Square because the event hosts have put up a billboard with your picture on it." And I was like, holy shit, seriously? And so I was down in Chelsea, like just walking around, having some me time, and I darted literally to the um to the subway. It's funny because I like literally ran because I was like, oh my God, I gotta get there. And so I get on the train, I get to Times Square, I'm sitting there, and I think when I looked at the clock, I must have just missed it because I had come to find out it played like at 2 after the hour. And it was like 5 after the hour when I got there. And so for the next hour, I just sat there, just staring at this screen. I didn't know what time it was going to come on, but I just sat there watching. And as I sat there, was reflecting and thinking about this journey, the chaos, really, in a sense, that has led me to where I am today. Now, you guys know my backstory, so I won't go into depth of that, but, coming from a background and a childhood in which the most dangerous thing that I could do would be to speak my truth. As I sat on the bench there in Times Square, like looking at all the people, just the speed and the movement and the sounds and the lights, I thought to myself, it's my truth that has brought me here. It is speaking it and the willingness to step into it that has effectively set me free and allowed me to be in a position to become who I am today. And in thinking that, like, I felt like even right now, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because it was such an emotional experience to sit there and be like, wait a second, I'm about to be on a billboard in Times Square, New York City, ultimately probably one of the most famous destinations on planet Earth. And then on Thursday, I'm going to speak in front of hundreds of people about Think Unbroken and this journey of becoming the hero of your own story, healing, letting go of the past, and stepping into what's next in your life. I'm going to get to talk about the coaching programs. I got to talk about the books. I got to do all these things. But ultimately, what I get to do is share my truth.
We'll be right back to today's show, but first I need to ask you a question. Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling like you don't have the support to go to the next level in your healing journey? Are you feeling like you wish you had a little bit more support from not only myself, but the Unbroken Nation? Well, my friend, I want to invite you to come and join our live weekly coaching sessions in Think Unbroken. All you have to do is go to Keys, Keys, keys.thinkunbroken.com to sign up and join us today with 100% money back, no questions asked, guaranteed, and no contract or commitment. Every week for the next year, you can come and be a part of our live coaching sessions each Monday as we dive deep into not only answering your questions, but questions from the Unbroken Nation, and help you take all of the information that you learn in the podcast, in the courses, and other areas of this journey, bring them into your life and use it in a way that is practical, life-changing, and transformative. So my friend, join us at keys.thinkunbroken.com, and we will see you this Monday.
And it was profound because for a long time I hid from it. And I think I've shared this one time on the show. I'm going to share it again. I used to have this insane reoccurring nightmare as a kid. And when I say reoccurring, I mean every day for 15 years I had this nightmare. I was in this log cabin with my mother, and we went to a store that was also in a log cabin, and there was all these people. And Freddy Krueger came. This is a graphic, just so you know. Freddy Krueger came from Nightmare on Elm Street with the knives for fingers, and he started murdering my mom right there in the grocery store at the checkout while people were bagging. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, and nobody is paying attention. Nobody cares. And I had that nightmare ever. And one day I was watching this movie, and I don't remember what the movie was, but they said if you talk about your nightmares, they lose their power. And so I think a couple days later, I'm in therapy. I start sharing it. I share it again. I share it again, share it again. And what happened was that after doing that multiple times, it lost its power. Like I took the energy back from that that nightmare, that traumatic experience. And I haven't had that nightmare in like 6 or 7 years now. And what I was thinking about is this idea we all have this darkness that we've experienced. We all have this pain, this suffering. It is a part of our journey, whether we like it or not. And if you're like me, you don't like it, but it's a part of it. And there is something unbelievably powerful about the decision that we make to openly share that darkness. Because when you bring darkness to light, it can no longer be dark. Now, of course, and I've said this before, I think there's a very safe way to do this. That's, in the scope of therapy or coaching or mentorship or counseling or anonymous groups or whatever those are. I don't think that the most appropriate place is to dump your life onto social media. And look, everybody's got to figure out their own thing. But the point in saying this is that I do genuinely, with my heart, believe that there is validity in addressing your truth and bringing all of the darkness about your experience to light. And it's scary and it's uncomfortable and it's not something that like, even myself, like in the beginning of this journey, it was so hard for me to tell the truth in therapy because I was scared I was going to be judged. I was scared I was going to be shamed. I was scared that I was going to have, my therapist look at me and be like, "Oh, we can't help you. You're fucked." Because that's how I felt because of how dark it is. And like, if you think about this, if you listen to like my origin story, you listen to the background of who I am or the show, I mean, I'm really only telling you about half of 1% of my journey. There are things that I will never tell on this show that will never see the light of day. Now, I've reserved that conversation for therapy or for group or whatever that is that I need to be in. But there that level of darkness. Here's what I think about that level of darkness. Some of the shit that happened to me, I'm like, that doesn't actually make people's lives better to share. And so I gave you the elevator pitch. Yes, I realize it's not as in depth as it could be, but I don't want people to be consumed by how dark my past is. But let me tell you this, the weight of my past, those past experiences and the pain of that all, I don't have to carry anymore. Like there is truly a sense of freedom. There is truly a sense of letting go that has come along with the depth of therapy and group and coaching and the whole nine that's led me here. And that doesn't mean, of course, that I don't have hard days, but I want you to think about this. There's something right now that you're harboring from your past that you think about all the time, that you think about probably every day if you're any way like I used to be. And that thought, that thing that you are thinking about, the feeling, the emotion that carries is impeding your ability to go to what's next in your life. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow because we don't want that to be the truth. We don't want our truth to be that we're stuck because of the past. I get it. I don't either. I don't want my truth to be that. And so how do you navigate showing up and doing the work every day? How do you go to therapy? How do you go to coaching or group, but not share your reality, not share your truth? And so many of us are like that because we feel like, well, maybe it's too much. Maybe I've shared too much. Maybe it's too heavy. Maybe people won't get it. But I'll tell you this, and I've said this before, I've never met anyone that had a worse childhood than me. And it's not a fucking competition. But what I will say is when I got in the depths of sharing the massive blackness of the darkness of those past experiences, the things that I'll never share on this show, that changed everything for me because it was like I didn't have to carry that weight anymore. I've used this reference before, but imagine for a moment if I gave you a backpack and that backpack was full of bricks and you had to carry that backpack with you everywhere that you went because you were unwilling to let go.
Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? We'll be right back to today's episode, but I want to take a moment and invite you to Think Unbroken Conference. That's right. Our next conference is happening right around the corner this December with amazing speakers from around the world who are leaders in personal development, trauma education, mindset, and more. All you have to do to register to watch for free, that's right, $0. Come and join us, is go to myunbrokenlife.com, register and sign up. You can get access to the free event. Watch it live with us this December. It'll be myself speaking along with amazing human beings like Anthony Trucks, Jamie Bronstein, Leslie Logan, and a special interview that I'm doing with Dr. Gabor Mate that has never before been released. So come and join us, myunbrokenlife.com. All you have to do is put in your email. We'll send you over the registration. You'll be able to come and join us, watch live. And then if you want access to the recordings or more information there for you to keep them forever. But in the meantime, go sign up. Block it off on your calendar. This is going to be a transformational experience that you do not want to miss. Head over to myunbrokenlife.com to register for free. Until next time, be unbroken.
And it just weighs on you and weighs on you and brings you down. It keeps you stuck. You can't go forward. There's no momentum. That's how I think about the traumatic experiences of our past when we don't share them. And again, I really want to reiterate this. It's about sharing it in the right capacity, right? Don't dump your fucking life on social media because it's not going to help, because you're not going to be able to get the other side of it where you can make causation and correlation about the events, where you can start to learn the rhyme and reason and the how and why you have the behavioral patterns that you have and so on, and more so how you get out of them, right? One of the things when people come into coaching with me, we talk about reframing behaviors and ideations and understandings and all of those things. And so as you get into this, what I want you to do is I want you to think about, what is it that you have been holding on to that you need to step into a safe environment to expose so that the darkness of it no longer has to encapsulate you in a way that keeps you from being able to move forward. That's the trick to this. And so as I'm like in New York, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm looking at, again, the sights, the sounds, the people, the speed of it. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And it hit me. I was like, there's no way on planet Earth that I would be able to have helped thousands of people to have this amazing podcast, to written these books, to speak on these stages, if I never would have shared my truth. If I never would have done the things that I'm talking about being a proponent of right now, because I was stuck so badly. I cannot explain it. Like, every day was misery. It was horror. Here's what's really funny. I had to submit some documentation to the IRS from a tax return from 2011. And I looked at that, and so that's 11 years ago. Right. And so I'm like 24 and I had cleared 6 figures. And I remember, like, as I'm looking at that, I was like, oh my God, my life is so much different now because of the truth that I've shared than it was in 2011. Right at the like this, what hit me was, this was the beginning. Like, this was the moment that everything was about to change right there in that year, 2010, 11, 12. It was that section of years that created the pathway for me to come to where I am. Because, like, looking at that, what I used to do with that money was things that destroyed my life. That's intense, but it's true. Every penny that I spent was one penny destroying my life. And today it's very much the opposite. It's investing in myself. It's the therapy, it's the coaching, it's the group, it's the whole nine. You guys know this because I've told you before. And so looking at the difference a decade can make is unbelievable. People get so lost in what they can do over the course of a long enough time frame that they don't have any willingness to show up. And so I want to encourage you to show up, to do the thing, to let your truth be known, to set yourself free, because in a decade, you could be having a completely different story. And I want that for you. And I want that for the Unbroken Nation. I want that for everybody, because then we can move further and closer to my mission and my goal of ending generational trauma in my lifetime. And so sitting here on this bench, looking, experiencing this, it really, everything ties back. It's a roadmap, right? There are these markers. I can go and look at all the things that happened in my life that led to speaking in New York City and being on a billboard and blah, 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 coming back to a decision. That moment in the mirror and me coming to terms with the truth that I was destroying my own life, that I was not doing the thing I needed to do because I was holding that stuckness, was because I was holding so tightly to the past, to the limiting beliefs, to what everyone else told me that I could be. And because of that, I was unable to move forward. And it wasn't until I made the decision to show up in my truth through a massive amount of vulnerability, let's be clear about that. And it was terrifying. But it started with walking in the door and being like, I cannot do this anymore. I want a different life. And my hope is that you'll find the ability to trust yourself enough to speak your truth, knowing that on the backside of it, everything in your life can be different. And again, there's a lot of ways to do this. I don't think social media is the way. I think you need to go and find the right space for you. But I'll tell you this, and I know this to be true because of my own experience. If you're willing to step into your truth, if you're willing to step into speaking your truth, if you're willing to walk through the darkness, on the other side, there will be light, my friends. Unbroken Nation, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment. If this episode was meaningful to you, share it with a friend. Leave a screenshot on Instagram. Let me know that you watched it. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see you.
Hey, Unbroken Nation, we'll be right back to the show, but I wanted to let you know that you can grab a copy of my first book, Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma, for free. If you go to book.thinkunbroken.com, you can download the PDF ebook version of the book and get everything that I know about the baseline of healing trauma for free, downloaded to your email right now. Just go to book.thinkunbroken.com to download your copy of Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma for a PDF for your phone. Again, that is book.thinkunbroken.com. Thank you so much for listening to Think Unbroken. Please share this episode with someone who could use it and help us move forward in our mission of ending generational trauma in our lifetime. And if you would, please take 5 seconds to pop on iTunes or Spotify, hit that 5-star, leave a review, and you can also reach out to us on social at Michael Unbroken or at Think Unbroken. And of course, you can check out our YouTube channel at Think Unbroken. Thank you for being a part of Unbroken Nation, my friends, and until next time, be unbroken.